It's Blackout Tuesday, you saw. And what's interesting is I posted yesterday and I had no idea what we were going to talk about today. And if you see me glance over there, it's because that's where I see me in the comments. I didn't know what I was going to post. What am I going to say? I'm a 53-year-old white guy. Grew up in a town with one black guy. Out of 3 high schools, there was one black guy. Grew up in Northern California, so it was definitely a lot of Mexican Americans, Central Americans, South Americans in my town. Yet, all my friends, all my people, and yet, still coming to an awareness at 53 years old of this implicit bias that I bring with me everywhere and all that, even though, I've claimed a lot of things and talk about my best friends and the diversity of my best friends and the people I turn to. So these are interesting times, and I'm not trying to put this back on anybody. I'm sharing my experience today, which is really important because I've learned a lot in 48 hours from other people's experiences. So part of what I believe is a great solution is when everybody shares their experience, whether I agree with it or not. I've seen a lot of young student PTs sharing their thoughts and their experience. I've seen a lot of brand new PTs sharing their thoughts and experiences. And I've seen a lot of older PTs sharing their thoughts and experiences. And I've seen a lot of experiences from other people around the world. And I'm taking it all in. And, that to me is what it's all about. And until we can see more, hear more, converse more, listen more to people who don't have our experience, until then, I don't believe we can truly start to solve these problems. And so, like I said, even though I grew up in a town with a lot of, again, like I said, Mexican, Central American, South American, immigrants, first generation, not people who came from there, came up, so they weren't first generation, they were the immigrants. And I grew up with all of them. Even though I knew them, I knew some their stories. Me figuring out how I fit into the community of people and how I could best serve people was really important, and really important to me getting to where I am at 53 years old. So I put community on there, and that was a long, drawn out intro, but I think it's really important to my context and hopefully what I can share with you. Because here's something interesting when we talk about our communities and being aware and where do you fit in these communities. So last night, about 3 a.m. No, it started about 1 a.m. A lot of hustle and bustle in my neighborhood in northern Philly, and people, circling through, and you're wondering what's going on as I'm peeking out the window. And then about 4 o'clock, there is a boom, and by boom, I mean explosion. And it was the ATM machine across the street. Someone had blown the motherfucker open. So, needless to say, no cops, no ambulances, no nothing respond, but I know all my neighbors. Of course I do. I talk to everybody. So this morning I get up and I seen a gentleman from across the street working, cleaning up the street. So long story short, between 7:30 until about 9:50, I was out across the street in my community, sweeping, vacuuming, talking to my neighbors. And my neighbors are black, they're white, they're brown. So there I was in my community this morning at 7:30 doing my part to help clean up, sweep up, meet my neighbors. I wanted coffee, I offered all them coffee, right? And we talked about the shit that went on. Some people talked about the past. I'm new to the neighborhood, and it was just it was an interesting feel. And what I've done since I've moved to this area, I've now been in this area for about a year, is my gig has always been to meet everybody, say hello, find out about them, and talk very little about me, unless they ask, which, if you know me, is not very Jerry-like. So I make a conscious effort to do that, right? And my other gig in the neighborhood is just do my part to help the neighborhood. And what I found my part is, most of the time, is cleaning up, picking shit up, And that's what I do. And I become known as the guy who cleans up the neighborhood. Not a bad thing to be known for. And why do I do it? Because I like my neighborhood to be clean. And what I found out was how much it contributes back to my community. Thank you. Sorry, I stumbled over that a bit. So me clean, so I can have a clean neighborhood, or a clean stoop, or a clean sidewalk, and doing what I need to do, picking up other people's trash. Because why? Because I can. And what I have found is that has made me part of the community, and it wasn't something I asked about. It wasn't something I asked permission to do. It wasn't something I did so people would like me. I just moved up here and I thought, right, how can I best serve my community? And I've tried to do some other things, like I said, which is talk to every fucking person within 5 square miles, which you all know that's me, so that's not very difficult. And you know, it's been a good time in my community. It's interesting. Last 3 days, you know, have been interesting for me, as I mentioned in my growth. And so what matters to me is that people respect. I'm not even sure if respect is the right word. I can't think of a better word. Respect is a word, but it's not the word I'm looking for right now. You know, it's like, be a part of the community and contribute to the community. And if you don't want to be in the community, get the fuck out of the community. And I'm not saying create patches of disgruntled people that want to be part of their community, but you know, at least acknowledge that that community exists, acknowledges that the strengths of that community, and then don't blame that community for you not wanting to be part of it. Think about that for a second. Own your shit and say, you know what, I don't want to be part of this community, and own your fucking shit on that. And then get out of that community and don't judge anybody in that community. And by the way, right now I'm thinking of anybody that doesn't look like me. So basically, right? Black, brown, let's go this route, yellow, purple, pink, right? When I say pink, I think we all know, right? LGB, sorry, I don't know the proper initials, but LBGQT, of which I'm a big part of that community, right? I'm a big part of my community, of which is a mix of just about everything I've said, right? And I choose to be part of that community, and I want to be part of that community. And I see value in community. And what I don't see value in is a bunch of people clustering up into communities that look nothing but like themselves and think nothing but like themselves. I'll guarantee you, I do not think like all my neighbors. I found that out this morning. And it is what it is. It isn't good or bad. It's just different conversations going on. They have some ideas about what's going on. They have a different experience than me, and I respect that. Do I judge them on that? Fuck no. Do I hear it? Do I listen to it? Do I not judge? Fuck yeah. And I'm getting better at that. In the last 3 days have been insanely enlightening. Because why? Because even online on social media, I've created it. I've chosen, sorry, I didn't create it, sorry. I've chosen to be part of a community of people that don't look like me, don't think like me. Because I want their input. And by their input, meaning they're sharing in their experience. Saw a couple posts yesterday that really hit hard, right? I judge and I question and I still disagree with. And I'm still processing. But that's what we do. But I don't, sorry, I judge me. It's important. I judge me when I saw it. I judge me and my feelings about it, my interpretations about it. So I think what's really important is I just spent, 10 minutes talking about me. And this is supposed to be about other people. And yet, what I believe a huge step that is missing is our self-awareness of who we are and what we be and what community we want to be part of. Because if you're in this great state called the United States of America, then you're going to have to embrace its diversity. And if you don't want to, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do with you. What's made this country great is its diversity, and I'm not even going to start to rip off, because if you're thinking how or what, then probably you're one of the people I'm speaking to about maybe any very tight community that thinks like you and looks like you. There's too many stories out there about what made this country great. And I find it interesting that when a group of white men got together to rebel against the government, we look back on it, we celebrate it, we have holidays, we drink a lot of booze on it, we celebrate around it. And when people other than white men, including women, meaning it is white men, when any other group starts to rebel and question government, it becomes riots, it becomes protests, it becomes wrong. But yet, when a group of white men got together and said, we're fucking tired of this shit, it was a revolution to be celebrated for the eternity of time. Whenever anybody else gets out and raises a fuss and whatever happens, riots, looting, whatever, then it becomes a bad thing. It's going to be interesting to see what history, I've already been thinking about what history is going to say about this in relation to, literally, because I live in Philadelphia. It's all around me, right? I love seeing the stories. I love reading the stories. I love the idea of people who disagreed with other people. And not only that, it was many of the people around them disagreed. When the Declaration of Independence was posted, it was pretty brutal, right? A lot of people disagreed. So, if you're going to celebrate this great country as a white person, if you're going to talk about 1776 and the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution, it might be time to take a step back and go, how is this different? Right? How is this different? It's a group of fucking pissed off people who've been underserved and undervalued by the government and the people within. Remember, government is the people. Yeah, so these are the things, that are important today. Again, I think it's important to talk about yourself, so go posting on Twitter, go posting on social media, and, I look back at just about everything I post, and there's awareness on everything I post, because it's coming from a place of my experience. And by the way, as I said earlier, what I value most on social media and what I'm seeing are other people's experiences, whether I agree with you or disagree with you, right? I need to take it all in and process it. Because when Black Lives Matter originally hit the air, I didn't understand it. I didn't think we needed it, right? And I didn't go out there chanting, all lives matter, you're wrong. I just said, wow, why is this getting posted? And then I understand it better than, right? And then I understood over time because of people sharing their experiences and because of individuals sharing their stories. And the stories I've seen from people who are willing to put it out there. It's easy for me to share my fucking story. I'm a 53-year-old white male. It's easy. A woman, a black person, a brown person, Chinese person. We keep going down the list, by the way. A gay person. Sharing their stories and sharing their experience. There is a lot of courage in that. There's a lot of vulnerability, and we have to allow people to do that, whether we disagree or not. And then you must go back and figure out where that fits into your experience in your community, and you need to make some decisions. And if you're going to be about community and about inclusion and diversity, equity, and inclusion, then you need to be part of it. And if you come from a spot of power and privilege, then you must leverage that for everybody. And I've asked other people how they see me being able to do that, and I've tried to do that, right? So that was my thing. It was like, how can I best serve? How can I best help you? And so then I can figure out what I need to do to make sure that people understand that I am for this, and this needs to happen, and these people don't have the same voice, these people, because it's that whole group of people. And yes, this week it is Black Lives Matter. And then, by the way, Gay Pride Month started yesterday. And, right? So we're on to another group, and I'm not going to go this direction, but just process for a moment. We're on to another group of undervalued, underserved people in the United States of America that need to have their own hashtags and their own month, because otherwise we lump them up with everybody else and go, well, you just got to follow our rules. Oh, you have all the same choices we do. And they don't. So I'll finish with this, and where I'm going today with the rest of Black Lives Matters and the Blackout Day is this. Dr. Lisa Venn, who's been a great influence on me, and I would say a mentor. Yet she probably doesn't even know. Yet I believe you can be someone's leader, example, and be a mentor without working directly with them. Is posting about Blackout Day and posting about Black Lives Matters and why. And I had a really hard time with that because if I'm speaking from my point of view, and I assume this happened to many other people I know and respect. I said Black Lives Matter, why? And I went, wait a minute, why the fuck? So my whole theme today is going to be Black Lives Matter. Why? And then it's going to be ... Wait, what the fuck? Or why the fuck do I have to tell you why? That's probably 99% of the reason why we need Black Lives Matter. So my why is because it's the only right fucking thing to do, because it's humanity. It's another person. That's it, man. Don't go any fucking deeper. It's humanity. It's someone with a life experience that you can learn from, that you can be part of a community with, that has absolutely no reason to be treated any other way than anybody else on the face of the earth. So, Black Lives Matter, why? Wait, what the fuck? That's my reply. So there we go, people. There is a time and a place for everything, and today was a time and a place for all this. And tomorrow and the rest of today will be a time and a place to reflect and figure out what the fuck, how you can be part of the fucking solution, because this is, no pun intended, black and white. And I love the quotes about silence. I've read those quotes, I've seen those quotes, and it has never been truer than today. Silence is the only place you can't be. Again, I don't have to agree with you, but you can't be silent right now. It's the only place you can't be. And you don't have to be all over social media, and you don't have to be as amped up and vocal as I am about it, but you gotta own your shit, and you gotta be within your community sharing with other people, and you gotta be in your community calling people out, and you gotta be in your community agreeing with people, you gotta be in your community understand who are those people that need your white privilege and your white power, whether they're brown, black, yellow, Asian, purple, pink, gay, straight. You gotta figure out how to use your power and your privilege to raise those people up, because they don't have the same choices, they don't have the same opportunities, and they don't have the same, literally, privilege that we do. And let's not forget what got us here. I will end with this, which is a gentleman who is no longer with us by the name of George Floyd, who just so happened that someone caught on camera. Because otherwise it would have just been another black person dying in police custody who, as you read the autopsy report, died because of his previous health problems. So this camera is a very powerful tool in so many ways, right? So if it wasn't for the camera, then Mr. Floyd would have just been another person. And in some ways, he should have just been another person that was treated like you and me, but he wasn't. So fortunately, there was a camera. So that's what this is all about. And that's what's going on in everybody's community, and we wonder why people get riled up and get pissed off. And I highly recommend you watch the whole recording. It's only about 4.5 minutes long, of Martin Luther King talking with, I believe, 60 Minutes. It was Mike Wallace, I believe it was, where the quote about a riot is the language of the unheard. If you hear the context on that whole thing, because that's about that small of a clip. And if you hear Dr. Martin Luther King talking about that and what leads to that, and then reflect back on today, I think that'll help give you some perspective on things. And, again, and I appreciate that Ryan said, thanks for using the platform. This is me, right? Jerry's all over everywhere telling people what he believes and what he thinks. So I owed it to, I don't want to say, this is interesting. I think I owed it to my true self to acknowledge what I believe, in my experience, because in that I can help someone like me to leverage their privilege, their power, to help someone who doesn't look like us. Right? So I did. I owed it. So I am. If I'm going to be so mouthy about my Giants, my Niners, my Warriors, my music, my bourbon, then Lord have mercy, I better be fucking vocal about the important shit, which is humanity, community, people, and just, right, and just treating people right, fucking going beyond all the bullshit, and quit looking to fucking blame. So tired of it. Right? Oh, the platform's to blame. Oh, you're to blame. You disagreed with me and I felt bad when you disagreed with me. It's your fault. Nope. It's time to sit back and wonder, why do you feel that way? And if you have any legitimate reason to feel that way, and by the way, you can feel that way. Man, they disagree with me. That hurts. Might be nobody's fault. I posted the other day on Twitter to someone. I said, man, accountability is a bitch. Yeah, it only stings a little bit at first. And if you're not willing to be accountable, sorry, not take. If you're not willing to be accountable, if you're not willing to be self-awareness, then get the fuck out of the game, my friends. You know, even, it's interesting this last week, right? People post on social media and have everybody come at them from both sides, right? And they leave their shit up and they own it. I'm like, I respect someone like that more than someone who comes on, causes a ruckus, and deletes everything within 24 hours. I'm like, you're not even comfortable enough with yourself and what you've said in the moment that you have to go back and delete it. And then there's a history of it. I'm like, you may want to start with yourself first before you start projecting out. So, Monique, so glad to see you. Monique, I can't remember. We met 7-8 years ago. Monique was kind enough to meet up with a dude in a bar who reached out to her on Twitter. And based on your share the other day about you're selling adult equipment, Monique, I think it's only appropriate that I tell people we met in a bar after we connected on Twitter. So it was so great to meet Monique. And if you guys heard the beginning of people sharing their experiences and their stories and how much I value that, and I must know, if someone posts a huge post about the Black community, and I read it as a group posting, it doesn't have that impact on me as sitting next to Monique and hearing her share her story about growing up somewhere else, her story about wanting to come to America, her story about being her only family member and came here completely alone, and what it was like as a woman, as an immigrant, as a Black person, right? There's no fucking research article. There's no encyclopedia I can open that will impact me in the way hearing Monique's story. Right? Dr. Lisa Van Hoos's story. There's so many other people I could go on. Right? Some of the people I've been connected with and have leaned on and probably yelled at and had to tolerate me. But isn't that the beauty? Isn't that the beauty? We appreciate everybody for what they bring. Yeah, there's a lot in there, and I hope everybody heard something. Yeah, look at Monique. See, I made her drink. She tells everybody I made her drink, by the way. I didn't make her drink. She tells everybody. So, yeah, I hope there's something in here for everybody, whether it's self-awareness, whether it's allowing other people and taking in the experiences of other people and then doing with that information what you need, but own your fucking shit and own the fucking response you have to that. And for the love of God, I'm going to say this publicly, don't lean on your fucking spiritual belief and tell me how it is based on a book that was written thousands of years ago. Tell me about the action from those words. That's all I ask for. I respect everybody's religion. I don't respect you coming back and making a claim at me with a quote out of an old book without telling me the action that goes with it, okay? And yes, I believe that's a problem. And it's not, I don't believe in your God. It's, I don't believe your God said shit and then would approve of the shit going on today. That's what I don't believe. And you can quote every line from that book you want. But tell me about the action. Tell me how you're living it. Tell me how we should all live it together in humanity. And I'm pretty sure, because I grew up Catholic, when Jesus came onto this earth, he didn't go spend his time with a group that looked like him. Think about this for a second. Jesus didn't go hang out with everybody that looked like him. He went and hung out with everybody who was not like him. The poor, right? The outcasts, the sick, the disabled. Ah, man, that part, that's a part of the story I remember. Remember, I'm Catholic. We didn't spend a lot of time reading the Bible, but I spent a lot of time listening in church. And then Jesus, I know, spent all his time with people not like him. And he didn't judge them. What more of a takeaway do we need? Yeah, again, I mean, you guys have heard a lot. Jesus started riots. We started this country on a riot. I know some of my mentors and the people I lean on are imperfect, but Thomas Jefferson said a rebellion every once in a while is a good thing. And man, we are in the middle of it. Is it bad? Is it good? I'm not going to argue with you about, see, someone will want to come on and tell me if I agree with rioting and looting. And I'll say if it serves a purpose, it does. If it's because my Golden State Warriors won the NBA championship, nope. If it's because my Giants won the championship, nope. There's no place for rioting and looting. If it's because yet again, another black male was killed by a white cop, sure. Maybe it is time. Maybe it is time to get the attention and make other people inconvenienced, and I'll let you guys decipher that. And I'm not going to argue with anybody about that. So, all right, my friends, remember Black Lives Matter. Why? Wait, what the fuck did you just ask me? That's why. That's it. That's it, my friends. And I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your energy here. And I'm going to put some Questlove imprints on and get back to some of the things I love, which is helping other business owners